Sometimes life calls for a change. Not fake, just different. It'll show you a different way. And right now, I'm on to my different way. I can promise you this is the same Spann, but the reporting is over. I'd like to welcome you to the Mr. Spann official podcast. Let's go. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Spann official podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Spann. This is episode number 33 of the show. And yeah, man, it has been a couple weeks. It's been a couple weeks since the last time I talked to you guys, man. And yo, man, your man Spann, I've been going through it, man. I've been going through it, just going through quite a bit of the stages of grief and shit, the stages of grief and whatnot. Reason being is that my goddamn Lions, man, blew it in the goddamn NFC Championship game. Fucking blew it in the NFC Championship game, man. I have been smarting over that shit for the last 2 weeks. Yeah, man. I'm glad that there isn't a game today, man, because I would be really fucking salty if there was a game today, because I know my Lions should have been playing in whatever fucking game was gonna get played today. But no. We not playing nothing, man. We are out of it. Just like everybody else, we sitting at home. It's only 2 teams left, and my Lions are not part of those 2 teams. Although we should have been a part of those 2 teams, but we not a part of those 2 teams, right? And I've been having a hard time dealing with it. I've been having a hard time. And the reason why I've been having a hard time dealing with it, man, is because our fucking coach, man, as good as he's been doing, man, like as great as Dan Campbell has been for the Detroit Lions, I felt as though, we gave that game away, man. Like we beat ourselves, bro. Like we left 6 points out there on the field and we lost by 3, bro. There's no motherfucking way in the world we should have lost that goddamn football game, man. We were up 17.5, man. We out here pulling the Atlanta Falcons, man. Ain't nobody supposed to be like the Atlanta Falcons but the Atlanta Falcons. But nah, man. It was like Dan Campbell, like, hold my beer, nigga. Hold my beer. Let's go out here and lose this in epic fucking fashion, right? Nah, man, real talk. My Lions had a really good year. They did. Probably this has been the best year for the Detroit Lions that I can remember since I really began watching football. And that's really when I became a fan of the game, man, when the Detroit Lions went to the NFC Championship game against the Washington Redskins and got mollywopped in that NFC Championship game. But, when I was an 11-year-old kid, I had no clue that it would be until I was fucking 43 until the next time I saw them niggas in an NFC Championship game, man. So I'm a little salty with how we let this opportunity slip. You know what I'm saying? How we let that opportunity slip. Like people, it's been, everybody's got I'm sure you guys have watched all the sports talk and all this other shit, man. This was stuff I was talking about in real fucking time. Like, why are we passing up these 3 points right now? Why are we passing up these 3 points again? Right? Like, these were things I was talking about in real time. And, so shout out to the San Francisco 49ers fans, especially you San Francisco 49ers fans that didn't really pipe up until after y'all took the lead. I see y'all. I saw what y'all. I see y'all. Y'all ain't slick, nigga. Y'all had the lemon booty going on, man. Y'all booty holes is tight, thinking y'all about to lose that game, man. Our booty holes got tight trying to lose the game. So it is what it is. But yeah, man, that's I didn't get on the mic last week because real talk, I was in no place at all to really to record because I was fucked up. I was pissed, nigga. You talking about pissed, nigga? I'm talking about to the highest level of pissivity, nigga. I was pissed about the way that the Lions lost that fucking football game, man. Real talk. But enough about the Lions, man. They are they sit at home with like 90% of the rest of the NFL, and the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers are in this game. The Super Bowl. Can't say I got a rooting interest in either one of these motherfucking teams. I just don't. This is probably one of the more ambivalent fucking Super Bowls I will probably watch, where I just don't give a fuck who wins either way. I really don't, man. I really don't. But it is what it is. But before we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We actually got quite a few things to talk about. Some of these things I probably would have got to last week had the Lions not fucking lost and choked they shit. But man, it is what it is. But before we get into what we got to talk about tonight, man, I do have to remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and let your voice be heard. You can go ahead and hit us up at our hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave us those voicemail messages. Of course, those messages will get played here live on the show and responded to in kind. And if you're watching us here live while we're doing the show on Twitter, on Facebook, and on YouTube, you can chop it up with your man Spann live while we're doing the show. So hit me up at area code 313-288-0485. You can also email us here at the show at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback@thespannreport.com. Go ahead, leave us those emails. And of course, those emails will get right here and reply to here live as well. Follow me on Threads and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So you go ahead, follow me there, chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. Also, leave us a 5-star review. Okay, 5-star reviews on iTunes and or Spotify, right? Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get read here on the show. Now, I was on Threads a little like sometime earlier in the week, and podcast Threads was talking about, somebody was like, I think it's pretty presumptuous to think that everyone's going to give you 5 stars. Hey man, them the only ones I want to hear from, right? Because people go out of their way to let you know they don't like some shit. Now, I want to hear from the people who like the shit, and I want to highlight the people who like the shit. So yeah, man, if you want your shit heard on the mic, on the show, go ahead, leave that 5-star review and let your voice be heard that way, man. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. Doesn't cost you a dime, man. Just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety, right? Also, hit us up on YouTube, man. We are on YouTube pretty heavy. I'm really trying to push the YouTube thing now, man, especially with putting out more segments of the show on YouTube. You can leave us comments there. Those YouTube comments will get read here live on the show as well, man. We appreciate everybody who contributes in that way. Even the trolls, man. Even the trolls. We might not read your troll as shit, but interaction is interaction. We just might not interact with you in the way you thought you was gonna get interacted with, right? But yeah, man, we really appreciate it. The folks who interact with us over there on YouTube, because we do put the videos up on YouTube as well. It's broadcasting live on YouTube, and also you can hit us up on Spotify, because we have polls on Spotify, and we have Q&As on Spotify as well. Every now and again, I put a poll and a Q&A on the Spotify, so you can interact with us in that way as well. And also, go to our website, www.thespannreport.com. You can go there, watch replays of the show. You can donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like. And of course, we really do appreciate every dime over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety, man. Yeah. So we got the business out of the way. But yeah, man, like I said, we got quite a few things. We got quite a few things to talk about, man. So I guess we're just going to get right on into the shit. And the shit. Yeah, we're going to get into the shit. And let's see what the world has got going on since the last time I hit the mic and I had any interaction with you guys, right? So, excuse me. But our first story has to deal with Target. Okay, Target is firing workers for buying Stanley Cups, man. Yeah, man, they are giving their asses the pink slips for them pink cups, okay? So we get this story here. This comes out of Business Insider. It says that every workday for the past 2 years, Catherine Carter would arrive at 3:30 a.m. at her Target store near Miami, where she would lead her team in preparing 5 departments to sell all sorts of products. She worked the overnight shift for the 3 years before that. She said that in all her 19 years with Target, she'd never been written up, never called out, never been late. On January 3rd, she stopped by her store Starbucks Cafe while on break, where a barista asked her whether she wanted to buy one of the exclusive Starbucks Stanley Cups. She said, "My mama passed from breast cancer, so I always try to get as much pink as I can," she told Business Insider, adding that her managers were present during the transaction and raised no objection. She was terminated the following week thanks to that pink stainless steel insulated cup, which retailed for $49.95. Carter is one of many workers across the U.S. that Target has fired this month after they purchased special edition Stanley Quencher cups. 7 workers told Business Insider that store leaders, including human resource and asset protection representatives, cited a company policy that prohibits employees from using their position to gain an unfair advantage over guests in order to purchase merchandise. All of the employees' identities and employment statuses were verified by Business Insider. The rule especially concerns high demand or limited stock items and deals, such as Pokemon trading cards and PlayStation consoles. None of the 7 workers could recall a situation in which a peer in their store was terminated for violating the employee purchase guidelines. 3 said they offered to return the cup when they were informed of the problem. 3 others were declined. Their offers were declined, Almost all of the workers said that the store leaders indicated that the investigations were directed by Target's corporate offices. Target didn't respond to multiple requests for comment last week or this week, man. So that's fucking crazy. This is like real talk, man. I try very hard not to be someone who yucks someone else's yum, right? But I just do not understand the what's the word that I'm looking for here? I do not understand the brouhaha, right? I guess the brouhaha that everyone is like really throwing up about these goddamn cups, man. I mean, yeah, they keep your water cold. They keep your coffee hot. There are other, brands that do it. I mean, Yeti is one. Contigo is another one. I'm sure that, you could find a cup that does the exact same thing, but it's got to be a Yeti right now. I think like Yeti we've reached peak consumerism. I think that's what it is. It's like the late stage, like capitalism sort of shit where like people are actually losing their jobs for purchasing something at their job as if that gives them an unfair advantage because a customer might have wanted that particular item. Yeah, I think we're doing too much. I think we're really doing too much, man. And I kind of fault the Stanley people on this because, they got that false scarcity shit going on to where you can keep the buzz going about your shit. Like, I mean, the Jordans, I remember they used to do the Jordans the same way where there was that, they kind of like did the false scarcity thing where like, yeah, we're only going to release so many pairs and then you'd have people, stomping over each other to try to get the pairs. And then you go on the secondary market and the niggas are like, taxing you out the ass in order to get it. It's not worth all of that, man. Real talk. And then after you get it, you realize, man, did I really need this shit? I got Jordans that I've bought like 3 or 4 years ago that I have yet to fucking put on. Haven't found the right outfit to put them shits on with, right? But I had to have them when they came out. Like now I'm just like looking at them like, did I have to have this shit? So yeah, man, it's kind of crazy what's going on with the Stanley Cups, man. Hopefully this little, hype dies the fuck down, and people who just want to go to a Target and buy themselves a Stanley Cup thermos can just go ahead and buy themselves a Stanley Cup thermos. All right? Let's just hope that like we get to a point like that, But yeah, you got that going on, man. People are getting fired for buying goddamn cups. It's crazy, right? Now another story that we got here that's a little crazy is so there's this Instagram model. She goes by the name of Gracie Bone. I believe that's how you pronounce it, Gracie Bone. And she's a very big booty model. I'll just say that. She's a very big booty model. And she was recently on her social media complaining about she's basically complaining about the size of airline seats. And she believes that the airline should have seats that are more accommodating to people who have larger rear ends. Okay. God damn. Yeah. So we get this story here. We get this story here from Baller Alert. Okay. Baller Alert. As a matter of fact, let me move this over here so I can make sure I can play this video because there's video attached to this as well. But yeah, so we get the story here from Baller Alert. It says Gracie Bone, an Instagram model famous for her big butt, wants everyone to know that her butt is so big that it's too big for an airplane seat. She's now petitioning that airlines expand their seating situations since she's having trouble sitting, even when she's flying first class, TMZ reported. She posted a video talking about her problem, even demonstrating how her behind is too big for the seat and asking airlines to make the seats bigger. Gracie says that it's on the airlines to accommodate big girls like me, and proudly adds, it's not my fault that I have an ass this big. But some people beg to differ, saying it's the model's fault that she allegedly surgically enhanced herself. Okay, so let me pull this video up so you guys can watch right along with me. Hold on just a second while I do this here, and let's see what this. Okay, let me do that. Boom, and let's see what she has to say. Let's see what she's talking about here.
Airplanes should have bigger seats. So today I had a flight, and even if I was flying first class, I couldn't fit on the airplane seat. So this is a petition for all the airlines, so big girls like me can fly. It's not my fault to have an ass this big. Please just make them bigger.
Okay, so yeah, she demonstrated, her having a hard time sitting and strapping in the, the seatbelt on and everything else, right? So interestingly enough, when it comes to this, let me pull this down here. But interestingly enough, when it comes to this, I've seen, quite a few people take issue with the fact that she, is having trouble with the airline seats, right? I was on Instagram when I first saw this story, and even in the comments, people like, she enhanced her butt, her butt that is big because she went and got a BBL and all these other things. And this is what she asked for. And now this is another, cry for attention and things like that. And one of the things that I thought was interesting about that is that I can remember some time ago that Gracie Bone actually showed a picture of herself before she went and got some of the plastic surgery done. Right now, I'm going to pull this picture up so you guys can see what she used to look like before she had the surgeries. And it's not exactly the surgeries. The surgeries that she's had aren't exactly the surgeries that you think she's had, right? Now, she may have had some enhancements done here and there, but I think the part where y'all talking about her booty being big, I don't know. I think that kind of was already there. She didn't really need that. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up. And let me stop sharing that. Let's do that. Let's end that. And then let's do this here. Let's do this one here. So you guys can see what she used to look like before. All right. Excuse me. But yeah, this is what she used to look like before. She had before she had the work done. Right? She was a bigger girl. She was, she was a bigger girl, and most of the work that she's had done looks like she's had like a tummy tuck and some sculpting done, maybe a breast augmentation, that sort of thing. Maybe she's had even some work done to her face, but even the work on her ass probably didn't really need it once she had the waist, the tummy tuck and everything done, where they snatched her waist in and everything, because she already had the ass, the legs, and the thighs, right? She already had that. So here's the deal though, right? Let's say she didn't have any of that work done. Because this is more than just whether or not she had some plastic surgery and some enhancements done to her body and everything. Because I know a lot of people resent the idea that she went and got this surgery done, and a lot of people are under the impression, and she may have had something done to her, but I don't know. I can't say for certain. I'm not sure that. I don't know this lady. Just like we don't know this lady. Just like you don't know this lady. But I think there's something else to be said about the fact that aren't we all a little tired of these airlines packing us in like fucking sardines, man? Aren't we all tired of that shit? I'm old enough to remember where the airline seats were a little bit bigger. If you took a 3-hour flight, they actually used a larger flight or a larger airplane, and you actually got an in-flight movie, and they had a movie screen, and everybody watched the same. I'm that old now, you know what I'm saying? Now everybody has their own screens and a headrest and shit. But back in the day, if you wanted to watch a movie, they had an in-flight movie. You got one in-flight movie, and they had a movie screen for everybody to watch, and you just had the headphones that you plugged into the jack. That was it, right? But the seats back then used to be a little larger than the seats that we have now. They are packing us in these planes like sardines. So much so that you know, the like the flight experience is not as good as it used to be back in the day. And this is before, like, I'm thinking about like flying back before 9/11 and shit. You know, back when you could actually take your friends and your family to the airport and you actually could go up to the gate and watch them board the plane and shit like that. You can't do that sort of shit now, right? So the actual flying experience, especially here in America, has went to shit. So the other part about this is that, like, yo, there are larger people who fly planes, man. Everybody ain't, you know, walking around a size 2, or they got a 32 waistline and everything else, and they could just fit in the normal seat. Some people are a little bit larger, man, and they need a little bit more space. You shouldn't discriminate against those people and make them have to pay more just because of the physiology of their bodies is different than, you know, some of the other folks. They should have some accommodations for people who just need more space as an individual. Hey, I'm 6'7". I weigh 320 pounds. I'm just naturally a big person. I shouldn't have to pay for 2 seats for just being me, right? But it was interesting to watch how so many people were willing to just kind of throw shade at this woman because y'all feel like, oh, she went and got all that work done, her booty all big, and this and another. Now she wanted this another, way to get attention, this and the other. I'll tell you this, man. Like, I kind of feel like a woman with the physique that this woman now has absolutely no problem getting any motherfucking attention. Real talk. I feel like every time she's walking anywhere in the world, there's somebody who's looking at her and just like,
look at that. Ooh, wee. You
What?
see that booty?
I did not.
Oh, man.
My eyes are on the road.
Okay, mine was on that booty. Good looking one.
I'm swearing somebody is out here like that every time she goes outside. I'm sure she's not really wanting in the attention department. I'm sure of it. So yeah, man. Gracie Bone says we need more seats on airlines that should accommodate bigger people. And I agree with her. Despite the fact that some of y'all are hating because of the way that she looks now. And I know what that. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. A lot of that is it's just hate from the way that she looks now. But yeah, man, that's the transformation that she made. That's what she used to look like on the left. For those of you who are not watching us, and you'll watch this or you'll listen to this later, she was a bigger girl on the left-hand side, and then you'll see what she looked like after the surgery. She was a much bigger person. And so, like, the idea that she had to, she's probably dealt with this particular situation all of her life. So yeah, man, we got that going on, man. Real talk. So another story that we got here going on. This doesn't have to do with anything trivial, so to speak, but more so on some real shit, man, because, you know, like the Republicans be trying it, man. These Republicans be really, really, really out here trying it, man. And so we get this story here. This comes out of, let's see, where do I get this story from? Where is it? Here we go. We get the story out of Newsweek. Excuse me. But apparently in Tennessee, the House of Representatives in Tennessee are seeking to bar nearly 500,000 people from voting in this year's upcoming presidential election. And like I said, we get the story out of Newsweek. It says that nearly 500,000 people in Tennessee will be barred from voting in the upcoming presidential election, with new rules making reinstatement of electoral rights even harder. Certain felons will now find it harder to restore their voting rights. Those convicted of certain felony crimes in Tennessee, tried in any U.S. state, have previously been able to vote only if they've been pardoned or had their voting rights restored. Felons convicted of extremely serious crimes, such as first-degree murder, may or may not have their voting rights restored, depending on the year in which the conviction took place, according to the Tennessee Secretary of State. In 2022, a 2022 estimate of the Sentencing Project, a criminal justice nonprofit, puts the percentage of voting age people who are unable to vote due to a felony conviction at 9%, or approximately 471,000 people. The change is likely to disproportionately affect Black and Latinx people. Tennessee denies voting rights to 21% of Black voting age citizens and 8% of Latinx voting age citizens due to system involvement. The rate of disenfranchisement for black Tennesseans is nearly 4 times the national average for black Americans, the Sentencing Project previously reported. Under the Tennessee Constitution, a condition of citizenship is the right to bear firearms, but felons, once they have finished their sentences in Tennessee and elsewhere, are prohibited from purchasing, storing, or carrying firearms. In the summer of 2023, state election officials perceived the Tennessee Supreme Court decision as mandating that anyone with felony convictions seeking reinstatement of their voting rights must either have their complete citizenship rights reinstated by a judge or prove they have been pardoned. Newsweek has contacted the Secretary of State for Tennessee for comment and clarification via a form on their website. Now, let's get back to the business of this, right? For what reason does anybody, well, not even so much for what reason, we know what the reasoning is. Republicans, for as much as they like to talk about how they represent, half of the country, Republicans understand that the more people have access to the ballot, the less popular their ideas for America are. And so their strategy has been for the last, I want to say about the last 20 years, has been to restrict access to the ballot for so many people, right? And we've seen, efforts across the country to get people who have been disenfranchised by, having felony convictions and not being able to vote and having those rights restored, having their voting rights restored, and they're being pushed back by Republicans and also all over the country. One of the biggest proponents that, one of the things that comes up in mind to me is what's going on in Florida, where they had a constitutional amendment ratified in Florida to reinstate felons and give them their right to vote back, and then Governor DeSantis saying, well, yeah, they'll get their right to vote back, but we got to make sure that they pay these fines and they got to pay this restitution in order for us to fully restore their voting rights, therefore putting a poll tax on them being able to do their constitutional right. After it's been constitutionally amended that they do have the right to vote, Republicans throwing yet another roadblock in the way. Now, in Tennessee, they had something similar going on where there was a constitutional amendment to have their voting rights restored for felons, right? And now they're saying, well, if you're a felon and you can't have or own a firearm, then you do not have the right to vote. And I'm trying to make, it couldn't be any more clearer. It could not be any more clearer that your right to have a firearm and your right to vote are two totally different and separate rights altogether. But that people do not want to put guns in the hands of known felons. Therefore, if they do not want to put guns in the hands of known felons, now you're saying that those felons should not also be able to have their right to the franchise and express who they want in office and who they don't. This isn't even a poll tax. This is a flat out barring of someone from the polls. And this is happening over and over and over again all across the country, where they're trying to restrict your access to the ballot. This is why when I hear people like a Charlemagne the God, or when I hear ignorant niggas get on these microphones and in front of these cameras and they talk about not having, I'm not excited to vote for Joe Biden and all this other shit. Hey man, if you don't vote for Joe Biden, you might not have another motherfucking opportunity to vote at all, right? Because they don't want you voting in the first fucking place. So if they don't want you voting in the first place, why then would you just take that weapon off of the table for yourself? Why would you do that? There are far too many people who think that the vote is the only thing that you are to do. No, the vote is just one tool in the toolbox. You're still supposed to hold those who are in elected office accountable and continue to push them towards the policies and the agendas that you want going forward. Your vote is just one aspect of that. But to not use your vote at all is asinine and is backwards politics. It doesn't get you anything. It just totally devoids you from the process in its entirety. Why should anybody listen to you if you don't really fully invest yourself into the process? Why are you complaining again when you could have helped with this particular situation and you decided just not to because your feelings was hurt about something? Nah, let's keep it a buck. So many people talk about how it's facts over feelings, and then their feelings get in the way of whether or not they're gonna vote or not. Make it make sense. But when we see effort after effort across the country to like put up roadblocks to people who want to vote, they're telling you right now that your vote is powerful. So much so that they don't even want you to be able to wield it. So we do ourselves a disservice by not wielding their power. And so I want people to pay attention to who does not want you to vote, right? Who are the ones putting up these roadblocks to keep you from the ballot box? And why are they doing it? And when you recognize who and why they're doing it, then you recognize who and why you should be voting, right? This is when it couldn't be more clear for a lot of us. But I know some of us need a little bit more encouragement. We need a little bit more we need a little bit more information as to why we should be engaged in the process. And I'm telling you right now, they're trying to take it away from you because they know if you do use it, they have less power. They have less power. So yeah, man, Tennessee, another Republican-led legislature trying to take voting rights away from over almost 500,000 people in the state. Pay fucking attention. Pay attention. Real talk. Now, something a little less serious than that. Cause I'm gonna try to mix it up, man, between the serious and the funny and shit. I'm gonna try to mix it up a little bit here. But in Detroit, man, we've had this guy. I think he's a North Carolina based dude. Guy by the name Mr. Chime Time, right? Mr. Chime Time has been here in the Detroit area, I want to say like a good month and a half or whatever. And he's been going around. He's a food critic. He's on TikTok. I think he's on YouTube. He's on all of the, the social medias and whatnot. And he's been going around to a lot of Detroit area restaurants and whatnot. He's been giving them his reviews and whatnot. And he's been like shaking the motherfucking table of the Detroit restaurant scene, man. So much so that this nigga made the goddamn news here, man. God damn. Yeah, he made the news. So yeah, he's really good at like giving like, he gives some scathing. If he don't really rock with your shit, he will give you a scathing review, right? But some people have taken issue with some of his reviews, and some people are just like, the nigga ain't lying. Kind of like y'all do with not Kevin Hart, but Cat Williams, right? The nigga ain't told a lie yet. So let me pull this story up because they are talking about him on the Detroit news. Let me take that down. I thought I had pulled that down already. But yeah, let me pull this up so you guys can see what they're talking about here, because he was on the NBC affiliate here in Detroit. And let's see what they're talking about with him on Channel 4 here in Detroit. Let me pull this up so you guys can see what I'm seeing.
It's one of our most clicked stories. So Food Critic is shaking up Detroit's food scene, and the backlash is strong. That's one of our most clicked stories on clickondetroit.com today. So if you have never heard of Mr. Chime Time, he is ruffling feathers in a few cities with his sometimes scathing reviews. Now, Rashard Morman has targeted Detroit restaurants in front of his more than 3 million followers on a handful of platforms. He called the Hood Babachi food truck the biggest scam in Detroit. Listen to some of his review.
Well, let me get this straight. We have a food truck that's in the hood charging Benihana prices for hibachi. Just want to make sure we're clear on that. The salmon, okay at best. They did grill this nice. When I bite into it, you can actually hit a crisp. Not sure if you heard that, but worth a try. When it comes to the flavor, nah. It tastes like salmon that's been put on the grill. That's it. I don't taste no butter, no seasoning, no nothing. Just grilled it.
So if you're interested in checking out which hotspots Mr. Chime Time believes made the grade or fell short, check out the full article on the local page of clickondetroit.com. It is a long list. Bring your appetite.
All right. So yeah,
excitement definitely building in preparation for this.
But yeah, man. So he's been going around and he's been in Detroit a long time. And I think, like I said, he's been here for about a month and a half. And there was a couple restaurants that he went to that I've gone to myself. And I kind of agree with him on a few of the spots that he's going to. Like one of the things that and this was something that kind of happened with Keith Lee when he was in Atlanta. And I think something similar is going on here in Detroit, right? And one of the things that I think about, let me pull this down here. But one of the things I thought about it was, there's the clubification of a lot of the restaurants. And a lot of I'm gonna just say here in Detroit. I don't know what it's like in other places, but I know this here in Detroit. There's sort of a clubification of like the restaurant scene, where the restaurants are more about being seen at the restaurant as opposed to being served well at the restaurant. And give you a prime example. Like there was this one restaurant, I'm not gonna name them, but there was one restaurant that's in a pretty, nice area in Detroit. Pretty happening spot. Like, there's a lot of restaurants popping up on this particular stretch of Livernois, right? And my wife and I, we went there because, I saw their social media. The food on the social media looked pretty good. I drive past there every day on my way to and from work. I would see people sitting out on the sidewalk. They had sidewalk seating and whatnot. They had the rooftop seating. They had the place itself isn't that big, so they had like a little tent that they put as an extension over in the parking lot so that people can sit out there. And so me and my wife, we decided we were going to go there, and the food, for one, just wasn't as good as for how much we were paying for it. And we've gone to some pretty nice places, so we know good food when we get good food. We know good service when we get good service, and then we just did not get that there, right? And if I would have, just given, if I'd have been one of these food review motherfuckers, they would have got a shitty review because the service was terrible. The food wasn't as good as they were charging for. And it felt as though, like, if you weren't a regular there, they were not really going to pay much attention to you. It was about being seen there, not so much about being served there. And, one of the things that I think that is good about people like a Mr. Chime Time or a person like a Keith Lee going to restaurants and giving their honest reviews of these places is that sometimes when like regular folks give their reviews of a place and tell people about a place, like the restaurant will kind of like shrug you off. They will shrug you off and be like, I don't know about, whatever, nigga, you ain't got to come back here, this, that, and the other. But if someone with a mega mega microphone can let everybody know, yeah, man, they ain't on the up and up here, then suddenly that restaurant starts tuning themselves up a little bit. And so I'm actually for like the scathing reviews, not so much like the scathing reviews just for the sake of being scathing, but I'm for the honesty in that, like, yo, man, y'all need to tighten up because y'all are taking advantage of people who may not necessarily know that it could be better. You know what I'm saying? It could be better. And that's the thing that I really want for more people. Like, hey, I even said this a few months ago. I was like, yo, man, I'm from Chicago originally. And, outside of like, let's see, you got, when you think about some of the top food places in America, people think about New York, they think about Chicago, they think about New Orleans. Like these are some, and I want to say maybe Houston, maybe, and maybe like somewhere out on the West Coast. Don't give me the name of one of these damn West Coast cities, but you know what I'm saying? Like people think of these, like those are the top 5 places. And so like when you come from one of those places and then you come someplace else and you come to Detroit, I would go to Detroit and I'd be like, yo, man, this shit that y'all been gassing up ain't really that good. Y'all deserve much better. And people think that like you hating. It's like, no, I'm not hating. I want more for y'all. I want better for y'all. Right. But if you gotta have, like people gotta be able to be willing to take the criticisms and whatnot. And oftentimes, man, a lot of folks just aren't willing to take the criticisms. Everything is about you hating and everything else. And it's really not that. It's really not that. But, it is what it is, man. Mr. Chime Time, I'm sure he's left his mark here in Detroit. I don't even know. Is this nigga still here or not? I don't know. But if he is, man, like, yo, man, shout out to Mr. Chime Time, man. Real talk. I know it's some people here in the city who are not appreciating him giving these reviews. They think he's talking down on black businesses. But like, hey, man, we need us to be able to talk to us about our shit so we can tighten up. Therefore, when we come to these spots, the shit's only up and up, man. That's just really what it's about to me, right? But yeah, man, we got that going on. Now, speaking of like food reviewers and shit, we're talking about Keith Lee. Keith Lee, unfortunately in Dallas, man, there's some drama going on with Keith Lee. Well, not necessarily with Keith Lee, but a place that Keith Lee just kind of pulled up on. There was some drama that kind of unfolded with some folks who he decided to bless with his, not only just like his presence and his platform, but with some money too. Like he really broke bread with these motherfuckers, right? So we get the story here. This comes out of Complex. Excuse me. But a Dallas food truck is apologizing after failing to split a $4,000 tip left by Keith Lee. Now, I've been seeing bits and pieces of this particular story on different social media platforms like Facebook, like TikTok, and it's been a saga to say the least. We're going to read a bit from this story here. It says a Dallas food truck is facing backlash after not following instructions given by food influencer Keith Lee. As reported by the Dallas Morning News, Lee recently visited Sweetly Seasoned, a Dallas food truck. After conducting a review, the food influencer gave a tip of $4,000 with the request that the owner divide the money evenly amongst employees, including the barbers outside the establishment. Shortly after Lee posted his review, Jonathan Evola, owner of Sweetly Seasoned, has been ripped on social media for keeping the entirety of Keith's tip. As a result, the food truck's page has been hit with 1-star reviews. We live and die by our reviews, and a 1-star review is really damaging, Evola explained. Someone who might want us to cater their wedding, if they see negative reviews for us, they won't consider hiring us. I know I wouldn't. Evola added, we are now thinking of shutting down our business and changing the name because of this. It would be a huge loss. It's not just about the money, it's about the time. We spend so much time on branding and developing and clientele base. Keith Lee hopped on social media to explain his side of the story. According to Lee, he was under the impression that the squad at Sweetly Seasoned included the barber and hair braider. Watch Lee's full explanation below. Okay, so they got a post here on Twitter. Let me see if I can pull this up so you guys can watch right along with your boy. Hold on just a second while we do this here. Let's do this. Boom, 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 and boom. Wait, that's not it. There we go. All right. Let's see what Keith Lee talking about right here, right quick.
To be honest, there's not much to talk about, but there are a few conflated and confused things that's going around about the situation. So let's talk about them. 3 days ago, me and my family went to Sweetly Seasoned food truck. Number one, nobody had any idea we was
Comcast, are you out here showing your ass again? I swear, if there was like a faster speed here in this area than Comcast, I would get it. I really would, because this is ridiculous.
Much to talk about, but there are a few conflated and confused things that's going around about the situation. So let's talk about them. 3 days ago, me and my family went to Sweetly Seasoned food truck. Number one, nobody had any idea we was coming. They found out we was in Dallas like everybody else found out we was in Dallas because we was posting videos in Dallas. So in hopes of us coming, they had t-shirts made and they was on live all day. So me and my family wasn't in cahoots with none of this. We was all under the impression that they were a team and this was a normal routine for them. The barber being there, the braider being there, family being there, a lot of people being there. This is our first time here. We are customers. We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. Number two, I was never under the impression that haircuts was free. Again, my family was watching the lives. We knew that he was cutting hair for $40. So when we walked up and I said I want to get $1,000 to the barber to do free haircuts and $1,000 to the braider to braid hair, it was because in the original video, the son said it was slow due to marketing. That's marketing. God willingly, after we post the video, there will be a line out the door. If there's a line out the door and there's a barber and a braider doing hair while people are waiting, that's marketing. So again, it's in the hood. You play some music, you cutting hair, you braiding hair, y'all all sitting out, y'all having fun. It's a parking lot barbecue. So again, we don't know the behind the scenes if they knew each other, if they didn't know each other. And the reason why I didn't pay everybody individually, the interaction that you see looked longer than what it was. It was really only like a 5-minute interaction. Within that 5 minutes, 30 to 40 people pulled up. They was pulling up in droves. That parking lot was getting deep fast. And for me and my family's safety in general, I don't ever carry cash around. And 9 times out of 10, if we tip, we always do it through the POS system. And even if we wanted to do it a different way, Zelle and Apple Pay wasn't an option because it was 4 or 5 people at the same time on live. So for safety reasons, they wouldn't be able to say their phone numbers or their personal information out loud. And as far as them taking my phone and putting their number in on Zelle themselves, I wouldn't hand my personal phone to nobody. So the POS system was an option that made the most sense. I've learned through this journey that sometimes it's deeper than the food, it's deeper than the marketing, it's deeper than the customer service. And this is one of those cases in my opinion. Sweetly seasoned got a lot to figure out, and I thank God in advance that they do figure it out. The last thing I'm gonna touch on is the son is misconstruing something that I said, and I don't appreciate it. After I said out loud in detail what we deem the money to be used towards, I also said y'all can divvy it out how y'all feel necessary. Meaning, after the money hits, because it's a POS system, it don't hit the same day. Y'all can send it out through Apple Pay, through Zelle, through Cash App, through check, through cash, however y'all feel necessary to spread it amongst the team. I thought and I still think that that's a very clear statement, but it's being misconstrued, in my opinion, intentionally misconstrued, that I said and the mom and the son can say who get the money and who don't get the money.
So Keith Lee did tell her to distribute the money how she felt necessary.
I never said that. Regardless of what's going on behind the scenes, I felt in my heart to do what we did. So for the mom to go on the back end and disregard where my heart was at and what I felt like God was telling me to do in that moment and distribute the money how she felt necessary is 100% wrong in my opinion. I see the memes and I see the jokes, but I am not in the business of shutting businesses down. Her actions did not sit right with y'all and her customer base. That resulted in the situation that she in today. Lee just ate the food and left a tip. Pray in advance that everybody in the situation stays safe. That's my biggest concern. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. God bless you. Have an amazing day. Y'all be safe.
All right. So here's the thing. Like the fact that he even had to come back and say anything about that situation is just it's just kind of fucked up, man. It's so fucked up that he even had to come back and say anything about that. And here's the other part about it. Like, for anybody who saw the original video about when he was divvying up the money, like, yo, I want you to give $1,000 to the barber. I want you to give $1,000 to the braider. And here's another $2,000 for you to, I think it was like to get, for free meals for the people coming behind us. Right. And so like, when you hear that, like, yo, she decided not to give the money to the barber. She decided not to give the money to the braider. And she decided that after 3 people got free food that she was going to start charging everybody else. That just screamed greed, bruh. And oftentimes, man, so many people step in front of their own blessings by being greedy. And whoever owns this food truck, they're talking about how like nobody would want to hire them for a wedding or a catering event. I mean, it's not so much because of the 1-star reviews for the people who did not see who saw what happened and they were just leaving these reviews. But it's like, yo, man, if I saw what the fuck you did, I'd probably be questioning whether or not I want to deal with you either. Right? Do I really want to deal with somebody like this who, like, clearly there were instructions left for you and you just decided to disregard said instructions? Do I want to deal with someone who just blatantly ignores instructions like that? So you can't blame it on the campaign because you precipitated what happened with that campaign. That campaign does not happen if you just follow instructions, And so yeah, it's crazy, man. Like how here was an opportunity we've seen like what a review by Keith Lee can do for a black business and how a black business can be like inundated with new customers and be blessed in ways that like, yo, like I couldn't get this much attention to my business before. And now I can't keep up with the business that's coming my way now because of Keith Lee. Like here was an opportunity for you to have one of those good problems where you can't keep up with the business because of Keith Lee coming through there and gracing your spot. And then you totally turn that into shit. Now people are not fucking with you at all. And you're trying to rebrand. And people are aware of your rebrand and fucking that up too because you decided that your greed was worth more than the overall blessing that was happening to you. That's sad, man. It's sad, but yo, it is it is what it is. We got some comments here. Let me take this video down here though. Let me do this here. We got some comments here. My man GS28 says, Houston, Dallas too. Tired of them club restaurants, man, with that velvet rope culture. The staff act like they're doing you a favor by allowing you to pay for that bullshit. Hey, I guess you might be talking about what I was talking about with the some of the places here in Detroit, with the the restaurant scene here. But yeah, man, it's happening in a lot of places, man, where you go to these restaurants and the service is terrible and they just, they get off on the vibe of, you should just be happy being seen, being here. It's like, nigga, who the fuck are y'all? I've been in much better places and got much better service and had much better food and didn't have to deal with this much bullshit. Like, real talk, man. Let's see. Also, he says, so we got another comment here. He says, yo, that food truck owner and operator in Dallas is colder than Clarice Precious Jones' mama in the movie. Hey, man. Speaking of which, I know you heard that Monique is going to be on Club Shay Shay, man. She going to be on there. God damn! And she going to be on there talking some shit. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see, like, how people are receiving Monique now that Cat Williams has been on Club Shay Shay. Because it's going to be a lot of niggas who didn't listen to her then, who are going to be listening to her now saying she ain't never told no lies. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. Also, you see what else he says here. Said also foods, fades, and braids under the same roof. Ew. Well, here's the thing. She got a food truck, right? So like they weren't cutting hair and doing braids in the truck, bro. They were outside. You know what I'm saying? So you waiting in line for your food. You might go order some shit and it's gonna take a while because the line is long. Hey man, I might as well get my hair cut while I'm here and shit. You know what I'm saying? And they got somebody that can take care of you. It's something to occupy your time while you waiting on your grub, man. I actually think that's a pretty decent idea. Now if it was like all happening in the same little vicinity, probably not. But yeah, man. Yeah. He said, ew, but I don't know. It's probably a good little setup. And also he says, he says, man, the Breda was helping with the food though. See, I didn't know that. I wasn't following that. I wasn't following that close. He said the Breda was helping with the food though. And so if that was the case, then yeah, yuck. Fucking yuck. Right? I'll be fucking with no hair and my food, man. That is the last. I do not like hair in my food. Okay? I do not like hair in my food. All right. But yeah, man. Got that going on. But yeah, Keith Lee out here trying to bless folks and they blocking the blessing. It's stupid, man. It's stupid. You hate for people to do this sort of shit to themselves, man. You do. But you got that going on. Now, another story that we got here going on here, and this is happening here in Michigan. So there's this lady by the name of Christina Caramo. I'm sure like a lot of you motherfuckers would not even know who the hell Christina Caramo is. But she is a really big Trump supporter here in Michigan. She ran for the Secretary of State's office here back in 2020. She lost by about 14 fucking points. It wasn't even close. It was just like, let a naysayer know. And Jocelyn Benson let that naysayer know that she had no shot at the motherfucking office. Because I said, I think she lost that race by about 14 points. But because Christina Caramo is a Donald Trump acolyte, she did not necessarily recognize or acknowledge that she lost that election. She never conceded that election. Not that, anybody needed her concession. It was clear that she fucking lost. But, this was the strategy that Donald Trump has employed. And, so many of his acolytes have also tried to employ this strategy for themselves, which is weird because it didn't work that well for Donald Trump and it hasn't worked well for none of their asses either. But they continue to try to use this particular tactic, right? So the reason why we're talking about Christina Caramo tonight is because after she lost her race for Secretary of State here in Michigan, she decided to run for the chairperson of the Republican Party of the state of Michigan. Mega! And she actually won that. So she didn't win Secretary of State, but the Republicans here in Michigan decided that she was good enough to run the state party and, kind of, get them in a position to win some elections. Now, it's odd that you chose somebody who lost by 14 points to run your elections, to be responsible for that. But yeah, you got that going on. So now, since, she's been running everything, Republicans haven't been winning much of anything. The Democrats here in Michigan they run the governorship, they run the state house, they run the state Senate, and the Republican Party has actually damn near gone bankrupt. I think at one point they said the Republican Party coffers had a grand total of $3,000 in their checking account.
Niggas.
Yeah, man. So here's the deal though, right? They've been trying to kick Christina Caramo out. They've been trying to kick her out of the office. And because she is a Donald Trump acolyte, it's one of those things where like, yo, I don't acknowledge elections that I lose. So even now she's not acknowledging the fact that they done tried to vote. They done voted her ass out of the chairmanship of the Republican Party here in Michigan. And she thinks she's still the one. She thinks she's still in the seat. So we get this story here. This comes out of The Guardian. It says that Michigan's Republican Party has devolved into feuding factions, and at this point, it's not even clear who, if anyone, is in charge. Christina Caramo, the Michigan GOP's election-denying chair, was ousted in a January 6th vote held during a special meeting called by state committee members critical of Caramo. But she and the faction that support her have refused to step down, further inflaming the chaos that has engulfed the swing state Republican Party with just months before the 2024 presidential election. On Saturday, the party will meet to vote on a new state party leader. Trump's resounding Iowa win shows his. That's one of those things. Even if Caramo's opponents succeed in choosing a new chair this weekend, their vote is unlikely to settle the matter, dragging the beleaguered party leader deeper into an internal conflict that promises to escalate as the 2024 elections approach. Both sides are already getting litigious. Caramo's opponents have signaled that they will go to court to settle the matter, while her remaining allies within the state party sent cease and desist letters to them on Thursday alleging trademark infringement and warning them to stop using Michigan GOP logos and branding. The crisis within the Michigan GOP may be the most dramatic example of the rift that has grown within the Republican Party since across the U.S. since Donald Trump left office, with members clashing over election denialism and the U.S. Capitol attack. In Michigan, a crucial 2024 battleground state, internal divisions over religion, interpersonal politics, and the leadership's handling of party finances have left the state GOP in disarray. Disagreements have even devolved into physical altercations in the last year, prompting law enforcement to intervene in at least one case. By the time Caramo was elected to chair the party in 2023, she already had a reputation for flouting wild conspiracy theories and had made an unsuccessful bid for Michigan Secretary of State. Caramo ran for the state's top elections officer on a platform of election denialism, never conceding her overwhelming loss in the statewide race. Now she's once again refusing to admit defeat. Now, here's what even gets better, y'all. Here's what gets better. So she's done all this because, again, she's, most of the people in the Republican Party are now trying to get rid of her. They don't want her running the party anymore. They think she's running the party into the ground, yada, yada, yada. She does all this because, again, she is a Donald Trump acolyte. She is pretty much running the Donald Trump playbook as what it means to acknowledge elections, what it means to deny those who are critics of you, and whether or not their criticisms are valid or not. But check this out, y'all. Donald Trump endorsed the dude running against her to be the chair of the Michigan Republican Party. So she been doing all of this shit, right? Christina Caramo has been doing all of this shit in order to be the Michigan Republican Party chair. And she's been like following Donald Trump lock, stock, and barrel, doing everything that Donald Trump does. Meanwhile, after all of the loyalty that she's shown him, Donald Trump just said, yeah, fuck it, and just endorses the dude that's running against her. So at some point, she's going to have to now acknowledge, because Donald Trump has, as leader of the party somewhat, has deemed this other dude, the rightful dude, to be the Michigan Republican Party chair. She's out of a fucking job. And for what? She did all of that shit. For what? She debased herself. For what? It absolutely makes no sense. You did all of this shit. You made yourself look like a fucking fool in front of America. For what? Again, when it comes to these really tried and true, deep down Trump supporters, you have to ask yourself to a certain degree, man, what the fuck did you get out of that? Because you look real crazy out here. to the people. You looking real crazy out here to the larger public, man. And everybody else who ain't a Republican looking, these motherfuckers out here crazy as shit. Right? But yeah, man. So Christina Caramo, she refused to acknowledge that she was losing this race. And then Donald Trump said, all right, bitch, you lost the race. And like now she's out. It's crazy. And she made herself look crazy. I wonder how you come back from some shit like that. I really do. But yeah, man, you got that going on. Now, another story that we got going on, man. Issa Rae. Issa Rae is in the news over the course of the last couple of weeks. And the reason why Issa Rae is in the news is because she's talked about the need to possibly go independent after her show Rap Shit on HBO Max was canceled. Yeah, man. So let me pull this story up, see what she's talking about here. I think we get this from, was this the Hollywood Reporter? Was it the Hollywood Reporter? No, we get it from Entertainment Weekly. Okay. So out of the Entertainment Weekly, we read, Issa Rae is calling out prejudice in the entertainment industry. The Insecure creator and star was profiled by, excuse me. Let's see. The Insecure creator and star was profiled by Porter to discuss her new movie, American Fiction, which takes aim at the hypocrisy and narrow-mindedness of white audiences consuming black entertainment. Rae observed alarming trends occurring behind the scenes in Hollywood that reflect the dynamics of the movie. You're seeing so many black shows get canceled. You're seeing so many executives, especially on the DEI side, get canned, Rae said. You're seeing very clearly now that our stories are less of a priority. Rae doesn't have a particularly hopeful view of the future of the industry, in part because her series Rap Shit was canceled at Max after 2 seasons. I am pessimistic because there's no one holding anybody accountable, and I can, sure, but at what cost? I can't force you to make my stuff, she said. It's made me take more steps to try to be independent down the line if I have to. However, that's not affecting Rae's enthusiasm for her work. I'm writing a couple of different projects, one for myself and one to produce and create with others, and I've been feeling so inspired and excited to get back at it. She explained, I'm embracing that challenge. The industry is in flux, so it's really inspired me to focus and hone in on what stories I want to tell. I've been laser focused on getting those projects up and running. Rae said that she ultimately agrees with her character Sinatra's assertion that ire should be directed towards the white audiences that put very specific work about black people on this pedestal, as opposed to more diverse representations of blackness. I don't think it's a secret that many white audiences and critics tend to reward traumatizing depictions of their own biased perceptions of what blackness is. It's frustrating. Now, here's the deal, right? And like I get her frustration, and I like as someone who's now like, you know, a little seasoned, you know, a little learned, somebody who's been around the block a little bit. It makes me think back to like when I was younger, man, when I was like a preteen and teenager, right? And shout out to Roland Martin, who kind of like helped me well, not like personally and shit, but kind of like help, you know, kind of put some of this in perspective a little bit, where like I can remember being young, and I remember when Fox was a brand new network, right? Before Fox, there was ABC, CBS, and NBC. And then Fox came along as that fourth network. And when Fox came along, what they did was they highlighted a bunch of different shows that pretty much were created by and starred a bunch of black people. So we got shows like In Living Color. We got shows like Living Single. We got shows like New York Undercover. We got shows like Martin. We got shows like South Central. We got shows like Rock. We got shows like what's another one? I'm drawing a blank right now. But there was a concerted effort at Fox to highlight black shows, black creators at the time. Right. And as Fox became more prominent, became a profitable network, a lot of the shows that kind of helped Fox gain this footing started getting pushed to the wayside. So we didn't even get season finale or series finale to Living Single. We didn't get like the send off of In Living Color the way that we should. We didn't get the send off of New York Undercover the way that we should have. Martin had his issues on set. A lot of the shows that we kind of grew up on, like, they were no longer a part of the thing. And Fox became not only profitable, but they were able to not only spin that off, and because not only were they able to become profitable, but they were able to get the NFL broadcasting rights afterwards. And once they got the NFL broadcasting rights, a lot of those black shows kind of went to the wayside. And then we didn't really see a whole lot of black shows on Fox anymore. Right. And so when you are of an age where you saw a plethora of black shows where the people look like you, where, you felt represented on the television, you kind of take that shit for granted, right? Because you thinking this is something that's going to always be there. And then suddenly you find out it's not, right? And, Fox becomes, this major broadcasting, linear television broadcasting network. They get the NFL license, and then they use that, and then they jump forward into, getting another network, which was Fox News, and we know what Fox News has become, right? And like Roland kind of broke it down to like what's going on right now with Tubi, right? Where Tubi is owned by Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan Murdoch, and I forget what the other surname is, but the same people who gave us Fox and Fox News are the people who own Tubi. And a lot of the movies, a lot of the shows that you see people talking about is, some of these movies and shows some of them are quite terrible, right? But you have a lot of black independent creators who are, who see this as their avenue to like get their shit out and get it get it out to a mass audience to where they're exposed to, not only other creatives, but also, maybe other producers, somebody, people who can put them in a better position to continue their art. Right. But ultimately, we end up financing because, they use you put your content on their platform, and then they advertise on your, based on your content, and, they're making money off of your content, much more money off of your content than you are. And, we end up funding the things that are actually going towards our detriment. Right. And so, bringing this back into, what's going on with the different like television networks who are now pulling back on so many of the shows that we were getting that were targeting black people, that were highlighting black people, that were highlighting black creatives. A lot of the shows that we thought were good that didn't get as many, didn't get as many seasons that we thought that they should have. Like I think of Lovecraft Country, like that was probably one of the better shows that I've seen in a long time. The fact that it only got one season is a goddamn, it's a fucking travesty that we only got one season of that. The fact that Rap Shit, I didn't even know that it was on its second season and it's already canceled. And then you hear, stories like, as much as 50 Cent didn't write a goddamn word of, any of this power stuff. The fact that he's talking about I don't want to have to deal with, places like stars, if when it comes to power because of the way in which they're trying to deal with our show and everything else. And so you're hearing more and more people, especially, after the George Floyd thing, after, Black Lives Matter, so much of that goodwill from those who claim to, be pledging themselves to not only highlighting black voices, but highlighting black art and holding it in higher esteem. A lot of that goodwill has eroded away, right? That goodwill is gone. It was only going to last but for so long. And so what that means going forward is if we want our art and our voices to be amplified, sometimes we do have to pull back and not maybe put ourselves at the mercy of those who do not look like us in order to amplify our voices. Right? As much as folks don't necessarily like Tyler Perry out here with his own goddamn studio. He ain't really got to worry about whether or not these white folks gonna fuck with him. He's got his own audience that he's cultivated and served for so many years that no matter what Tyler Perry puts out, he knows that he's got a substantial backing from his homegrown audience. And that kind of leads into like when it comes to this podcast and shit too, right? Because I saw this story earlier about Joe Rogan. He's got a $250 million deal to with Spotify. They're giving him another $250 million so that they can host his podcast. But his podcast would no longer be exclusive to Spotify. His podcast is going to be available everywhere, right? But they're still giving him $250 million. And so many different people are in this podcasting space, and they're worried about how they're going to monetize their podcast, how they're going to scale their podcast to be something like a Joe Rogan, while at the same time, at the same time, kind of ignoring that, like, yo, you may not necessarily get to Joe Rogan's status, but you need to be serving the people who have been really rocking with you from the beginning, right? The people who really fuck with your podcast, the people who really fuck with you, who when you got a new show that comes out, they make sure that they listen to your new show. When people are asking about a new podcast to listen to, they be like, hey man, I don't know if you up on this, but you might want to check this out. Those are the people that you need to be super serving. You need to be making sure that they get what they need, as opposed to chasing all these other people who might fleetingly fuck with you. And so like with Issa Rae, looking at the situation what's going on with HBO and how they treat her content, and Issa Rae has an audience. Issa Rae has people who fucks with her. She could put something out right now and people are like, hey, it's Issa Rae, I'm on that. If she can get to a place where she can produce the content that she wants and not have to go through these other mediums in which to get their content produced, she'll be all right. She'll be all right. But the key is us as a collective, as an audience, really going out and being deliberate about how we consume this art and those with whom we support. Right? Because we out here shelling out money for like Netflix. If there was like a Blackflix, right? If we came out with a Blackflix and it was $8.99 a month, and it had all of our favorites, all of our black faves, that would be dope. But it would also serve notice to some of these other places like, yo, man, we will support our own. And we should support our own. As much as folks could like complain about what they do see and what they don't see, when your creators are out here creating those things, we got to be out here supporting them so that they can go out here and create those things that you want to see. And not be beholden to these other entities that can say, yeah, I don't see the vision here. I just don't see it. I don't see how it connects with our audience. And, I think we're going to put a wrap on that at the end of this, at the end of the season. I think we're going to put a wrap on that. They don't see it, but there's millions of people out here that do. So yeah, man. Hopefully Issa Rae is able to like really, really do, move in an independent way where her art is seen by the people who it's meant to be seen by. Right. So yeah, man, we got that going on. Now another story that we got going on is Nikki Haley, man. Nikki Haley took her ass on the Breakfast Club, and I'm not going to get on here. I'm not going to get on here and talk about all of the other things that people have already told y'all about Nikki Haley being on the Breakfast Club. I've already kind of expressed my disdain for why people feel as though the Breakfast Club is a place for politicians to go when they want to talk to black people. I get that a lot of people, I get that a lot of black folks listen to the Breakfast Club, but unfortunately, right? I think unfortunately the people who go on the Breakfast Club think, and oftentimes they show with the way that they show up on the Breakfast Club. I think that they believe that the Breakfast Club audience are a bunch of fucking idiots, man. Just like they think about
niggas.
I think that's how they think about the Breakfast Club audience. And it doesn't help when you have, people like Charlemagne the God who acts as though he doesn't know a goddamn thing, and also kind of peddles in the apathy shit. And then, sometimes DJ Envy doesn't really bring a lot of, political astuteness or anything. Like it's just this. You could tell this isn't the place for them, man. Right? It's just not the place for them. This isn't their space. That's okay. Everything doesn't have to be everybody's space. But like the idea that in order to talk to black people, you need to go to the Breakfast Club, I think is insulting. Right? But Nikki Haley took her ass on there. And she's still gaslighting black people. She's still gaslighting people of color on what it means to, for America to be a racist country. She's still denying that. And one of the things that I thought was interesting, though, about her appearance was like how she tried to lay the divisions in this country that we're currently facing at the feet of Obama. And so I'm going to pull this video up. I'm going to pull part of this up so you guys can see what the hell this lady is talking about. But, yeah, man. Not a good look, man. Not a good look. But let's see what she's talking about.
Talk about your policies and some of the policies and the things that you stand on. You also said that you felt like Biden was been, I guess, Obama 2.0. Mm-hmm. What didn't you like about the Obama administration that you would have changed immediately? Like, what were you against?
There were a couple.
And you said something about Kamala. I want to ask why you said if Kamala was president, why it would send chills down your spine.
So a couple of things. I think with Obama, that was, if you go back, that's when we really started to feel the division. That's when it was.
A lot of that was because of white supremacists, though.
Well, no, I think it was everything. Everything was exaggerated with the Obama administration. It became more about gender. It became more about race. It became more about separating Americans instead.
Okay, so the one thing that she said is it became separated. No, what Obama's administration did was, hey, man, here are some of the people who have been marginalized. And we want to make sure that these people are no longer marginalized. And those who want to keep those people marginalized take issue with the fact that we don't no longer want to marginalize these folks. And so long as you're framing this as if that's a bad thing, it's in bad faith. And I ain't trying to, it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Instead of bringing them together.
That was because of right-wing media, though. Well, they were scared to death of a black president.
Look, I don't think everybody is at fault. I'm not saying
everybody is not at fault. That's bullshit.
That one person did this, but I'm saying under that administration, it really did cause people felt like they were being put in camps through that administration. The second thing is, I saw he was very much an Iranian sympathizer. He very much kept wanting to support and do things with Iran. I think that's incredibly dangerous. This is a
Interestingly enough, she says he was an Iranian sympathizer. Meanwhile, we have Donald Trump out here who's not only talking about Xi Jinping as one of his better friends in the world, who's a dictator who rules with an iron fist over in China. Same thing with Kim Jong-un over in North Korea. Same thing with Vladimir Putin. These are dudes who Donald Trump has been very friendly with, who are all dictators across the world. Meanwhile, Barack Obama seeks to try to normalize relations with an Iranian nation who's been really at our necks for a long goddamn time. Since I can remember, what was it? This is going. I want to say this goes back to even before Jimmy Carter and shit. But like, yo, man, they took hostages, bro. They seized our fucking embassy in Iran back in '79. Jimmy Carter lost in large part because of what happened in Iran back in 79. That's how we ended up with fucking Reagan. So the idea that Barack Obama is like, yo, man, if we could kind of like lower the temperature with these motherfuckers, maybe we might be able to get some movement in the Middle East. And she's mad at that. Come on, man. Come on, man. Stop it. Stop it.
Culture that says death to America, and you have to always be careful. A lot of spending happened on his watch that started us down that spiral.
Yeah. Donald Trump got us $8 trillion in the deficit. Donald Trump did that. When President Obama got into office, this was like after the housing crisis. This was like after the implosion of the automotive industry. Like, so the idea that there was a lot of spending, like, yeah, Donald Trump got us $8 trillion in fucking debt. And they always forget that shit. Not even so much forget. They're disingenuous in not mentioning that shit. And so, like, I feel as though when they go on the Breakfast Club, and because if you're listening to this shit, Charlamagne ain't challenging her on that. Envy ain't challenging her on that. And it's not that they don't know. I'm not even saying that they don't know. But they're not challenging her in real time on that. And it just goes it just goes unchecked. Oh shit. Come on, Google. I mean, Comcast, don't do me like this. Now it's loading and shit. What the fuck? Oh, it's really doing this thing now. Okay. We just said fuck it, huh? All right. So, yeah. But yeah, man, Nikki Haley, she's doing this thing, and I'm of the mindset of this, right? I'm gonna just go ahead and pull this video down because I don't know why the fuck it's not loading now. But I'm of the mindset like this. When it comes to, like people like Nikki Haley, and whether or not let's stop that. But yeah, but when it comes to people like a Nikki Haley, and whether or not she acknowledges racism or not, like many people have gone on, and talked about how her father worked at an HBCU when he was young, when they first got to America, how black women were the ones who were buying her mom's dresses and all this other shit. I'm going to say this right here and right now. Nikki Haley, it's not as though Nikki Haley does not fucking know. Okay? Nikki Haley knows good and goddamn well what she's doing. Nikki Haley knows good and goddamn well what she's saying. The reason why Nikki Haley refuses to acknowledge the racism in America right now, at this moment, is because if Nikki Haley feels as though she has a legitimate shot at the Republican nomination, there is a segment of the Republican electorate that believes that if she acknowledges any of that racism shit, they will not vote for her. It's not that she does not know. She knows that is a contingent of the Republican Party, and those votes are the votes that she will need in order to get that nomination, if she's to be the nominee. So for a long time, many of those people who were in the Republican, primaries before they all dropped out, they were very tepid in their criticism of Donald Trump, because they knew they wanted Donald Trump's voters to, at some point, see them as a viable alternative should something happen to Donald Trump. That is why she's not saying the shit that she knows to be true. It isn't rocket science when you look at what these people and who these people are. What these people are and the type of people they are courting for votes. It is not rocket science. One of the things I saw earlier today was I think it was ABC News or some shit like that. They did a panel discussion with about 3 Trump supporters, 3 Trump voters, and they were like trying to figure out, why are these people still Trump supporters? And after 8 years of this shit, it's like, yo, man, I think we should probably have a pretty good handle on why these people are Trump supporters. Why these people look at Donald Trump and those who are acolytes of Donald Trump, those who would be enablers of Donald Trump, why they are viable people to vote for. And it's because the people who support Donald Trump at this particular moment see him as a gate against the changing of America. Right? They see him as something who to hold back the coming changes that are inevitable. There's a demographic change happening in the country. Many of these people who are majority voters, as majority white people, will find themselves being a minority within the next 15 to 20 years. And it frightens them. It scares them to death of what it means to be a minority in America, because they know what they've done to minorities in America. And they would hate to be a minority in America because of how they treated minorities in America. So that's why they're trying to roll back rights for certain things. That's why they're trying to limit the amount of people who can vote in elections. That's why they're trying to conserve all this power in the hands of the minority, because they do represent a minority here. Like right now, even they represent a minority. They haven't won a popular vote but once in the last 20 years. They represent a minority of voters. So they understand that if they can keep the power with the minority, the new coming minority, then they can actually keep what they have done to the minority from happening to them. That's the play. It's been the play from the jump. It's not hard to decipher if you're paying attention. That's what it's been for the last 8 years. Obama scared the shit out of them. So if you understand that this is what the play is, when you see somebody like a Nikki Haley refusing to acknowledge that racism was ever actually a thing, it's like, yeah, she's got to do that because she's trying to appeal to those people too. She wants those people's votes. She's not trying. She knows damn well she's not going to get a plethora of black votes. Like, black people ain't really fucking with Nikki Haley. It is not. But the people that she does want those votes from, the people she's really trying to cater to, they voting for Donald Trump because Donald Trump gave them permission to be the racist sacks of shit that they already are. Nikki Haley gives them permission to say that they aren't that, though. Much like Tim Scott and Clarence Thomas and Candace Owens and the others. But that's what it is, man. That's what it is. So, yeah, like I said, I wasn't gonna do no like real deep dive on what the fuck Nikki Haley was saying on the Breakfast Club, because yeah, it was predictable. I mean, who the fuck thought Nikki Haley was gonna go on the Breakfast Club and say anything of any substance whatsoever to the black community? She has been denying the thing that like black people have been saying for the better part of the last 400 fucking years. Fuck her. Bottom line. So yeah, you got that going on. Now, another story that we got going on has to deal with the fact that, like, yo, man, some of y'all be going to the churches. I ain't been to a church in a long time, and I ain't been to church in a long time. Last time I was in a church, unfortunately, it was for the homegoing of my grandma Rose. And it was the church that I got baptized in, matter of fact. You know, it was good to see some of the reverends and whatnot. I used to be a junior deacon at that church, and they remembered me. And he was like, yeah, it was good to see you. It was a Reverend Holmes. Reverend Holmes said, it was good to see you, Brother Spann. And, you know, you should come back when you come back to Chicago, man. You make sure you come back and come through and see us, you know. And, you know, it was good. It was good to be recognized and seen in that way, man. Because, like, you know, I'm a grown man now. I was like 15. I want to say about maybe 20 when I left there. So it was about 23 years ago. And, yeah, church. Nah, man. But, like, yeah, church, man. Like, it's a place you go to get some solace. It's a place you go to be understood. It's a place you go to understand yourself. I don't know how many people go to the church and feel like they're gonna throw hands though. Nigga! Yeah, man. So we got this one particular story here. This comes out of, I want to say, Chattanooga, Tennessee. And niggas was throwing hands in the church building, man. They was really like letting them fly in the church. And let's see, I'm gonna do this here. Let me do this here. Cause I got the video. Yeah, we got video to this. Let me pull this story up here. And I'm gonna read a bit from this story, and then I'm gonna show y'all this video. Because we got the story here from BET. And let's do this here. Bam. All right, but I'm going to read a little bit from this article from BET, though. It said a fight breaks out during Chattanooga church's Sunday sermon. In the New Testament, the laying of hands was associated with Christ healing the sick. Mark chapter 16, verse 17 through 18 in particular reads, "They will lay hands on the sick and they will recover." Well, this past Sunday at Olivet Baptist Church in Chattanooga, Tennessee, hands were thrown, not laid upon. In footage obtained by TMZ, one man seemingly unprovoked started swinging on another man in the front row, prompting retaliation that led to a full-out brawl that ended up continuing off-screen. Bishop Alvin Adams tells TMZ he tried to stop the fight to no avail, saying, "Stop it, Marcus. Marcus, come on." It wasn't long before the church's live stream feed was cut. Afterwards, the bishop explained that the man in the white t-shirt had just gotten out of rehab when he went for the youth pastor in the front row. The bishop went on to say that he didn't know where he was, alluding to the possible relapse. Once they were able to calm the man down, he started crying. The bishop says the man said he's going back to rehab and the church is fully supporting him. Now, because, social media going social media, I heard the shit that I heard ain't had nothing to do with this dude being in no goddamn mission. No missionary, no rehab and nothing like that. What I heard was that the youth pastor was fucking with old boy's wife. And I'm gonna tell you something right now, man. For anybody listening to the sound of my voice right now, man, y'all better leave these niggas' wives alone, man. Y'all, I'm telling you, leave these niggas' wives alone, man. It might not work out well for you fucking with these men's wives, man. I mean, like, dudes already take it personal if you messing with their girlfriend, their little side piece. But they wife, nigga, I've seen niggas get killed for less. Okay? I've seen niggas get killed for less. Stop fucking with these niggas' wives, man. It might not work out well for you. I'm just saying. Word to the wise from your man Spann, right? Now, all that being said, we got the video of old boy coming at the youth pastor during the service. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the video. I mean, I already got the video pulled up. Let me go ahead and maximize this so you guys can see this in all its glory in the house of the Lord. All right, so let's see what they talking about here. Let's see what happens here.
"Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star in the east, and we have come."
Ooh. Hold on. First of all. Okay. First of all, man. Shout out to the youth pastor, right? Because old boy thought he was going to sneak him. And the youth pastor caught that punch like it was a goddamn slow. Like, he caught it, man. Like, he caught him. He telegraphed that punch, and the youth pastor caught it. Like, he didn't even, like, really hit old boy. You know what I'm saying? But then on top of that, youth pastor got up. Couple swings was thrown. Neither one of them niggas connected. But at the same time, will y'all look at the face on this pastor right now? For those of you who are watching right now, the face on this pastor right at this moment. This nigga is so disappointed. He is so disappointed. He's looking at these niggas like, wait. I got too much going on right now. But here we go. Nigga! That's how he's looking right now. Well, you niggas, what the fuck is wrong with you niggas? What is wrong with you? That is the look that he's giving them right now in this church. What is wrong with you niggas? This is a house of God. This is a house of God, and you niggas out here acting a goddamn fool. I can't believe you niggas. But let me let the video play some more.
Listen. Stop. Now, Marcus.
Stop the live. Stop the live. You hear him on there like, hey, stop the live, man. Stop that shit. Cut it off.
Look, Marcus.
Cut the live.
Look.
Past the calm and shit like these niggas, man. I almost get the impression that this has happened in the church before. Right? I get the impression that this has happened in the church before, man. They out here throwing hands in the house of the Lord, man. And the pastor is sick and tired of this shit. And he just like, hey, all right, man, come on, Marcus, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's Sunday. Why you coming here with this bullshit every week? Come on now. I'm in the middle of my sermon, and here you go with the bullshit. Now I got to come up with a story that you on drugs or something to make it seem like you're not crazy. Why are you doing this to me? Why I got to be in it? Why you pull this on my? I'm at work right now. I don't need this shit when I'm at work, Lord. Come on, Marcus. Help me help you. All right. But also, man, for those of you who are out here saying that the good youth pastors out here clapping cheeks with that man's wife, I hope y'all ain't out here bearing false witness against, the youth pastor, because the youth pastor is I can't vouch for the youth pastor. Let me stop playing. I can't vouch for the youth pastor, man. He might be out here wrong too. But yeah, man, you got that going on. Another story that we got going on, man. Let me take this down because we done with this story here. But let's see what else we got going on. Oh, yeah. Snoop Dogg says that he has nothing but love for Donald Trump.
This nigga was clearly lying.
I mean, we don't know, man. We don't know. It's Snoop Dogg. The nigga might have been high when he said this shit. We don't know. But let me see where did we get this story from? Do I have it? Oh, I thought I had it. I don't know what the fuck happened to it. I'll be damned. Oh, here we go. This comes out of The Hill. That's why I didn't see it at first. But we get this from The Hill. And it says the rapper Snoop Dogg did a U-turn on his opinion about Donald Trump, saying that he has nothing but love and respect for the former president following years of staunch criticism. In an interview with London's The Sunday Times over the weekend, the Gin and Juice rapper was asked about his thoughts on the GOP frontrunner in the upcoming presidential election. He replied by praising Trump, mentioning the former president pardoned Harry O. Harris, a former associate of Suge Knight. Donald Trump, Snoop said, he ain't done nothing wrong to me. He has done only great things for me. He pardoned Michael Harris. Knight, alongside Harris and Dr. Dre, co-founded the Death Row Records record label in the 1990s, which signed Snoop Dogg early in his career. Harris was convicted of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, but was pardoned by Trump in 2021 after serving 30 years of a 25 to life sentence. According to USA Today, before leaving office, Trump pardoned Harris along with 69 others. I have nothing but love and respect for Donald Trump, Snoop added. The rapper's latest sentiments are a stark contrast to what he has expressed in the past. In a 2016 interview with Rolling Stone, Snoop said that he had never seen a motherfucker like Trump, asking, how could we have someone as reckless as him running our country? In 2018, Snoop Dogg also heavily criticized Trump and fellow rapper Kanye West, who is an open Trump supporter. The rapper is also known for his previous controversial stunts to condemn the former president, such as an a shared EP cover on social media in 2017 that shows him standing over Trump's dead body. In a 2018 visit to the White House, he smoked a blunt outside of the building. In one of the most controversial moves, Snoop Dogg is seen in a music video shooting a clown dressed as Trump with a toy gun. So when I first, kind of heard of this story, my thinking was like, this nigga, right? Because to me, it's just like one more example of one of these niggas where ultimately it's not even so much about the community. It's about what you doing for me. And I said this when we were going through the whole thing with Ice Cube a few years ago with that whole platinum plan bullshit and, the playing of the away games. And, ultimately, like guys like a Kanye West, guys like a Snoop Dogg, guys like a Ice Cube, them niggas are gonna be okay. Ultimately, at the end of the day, them niggas are gonna be all right. Unfortunately, for the people who are looking up to them, who are listening to them, who would even be looking to these niggas for political advice, a lot of them people are not gonna be okay with what happens with another Trump presidency. And I think to some degree, there are a lot of people who look at like, yo, we came out of that Trump presidency and everything's all right, and think that, well, we could probably make it through another one. And if they're paying attention and they're listening to this nigga, we won't be. Right? If you think about it, like I said, like his acolytes right now, the people who he's in cahoots with right now are trying to take away the votes of people who look like you. They don't want y'all asses voting. They don't even want y'all at the polls, bruh. When Donald Trump said he lost, you know, the shit was rigged, the places that he was really talking about being rigged, Atlanta, Milwaukee, and Detroit. Black cities, man. He don't give a fuck about black people. In fact, he thought that you was cheating his ass out of the damn election. So when you hear a rapper like a Snoop Dogg, like an Ice Cube, like a, Sexy Red, and they're talking about the things that Donald Trump did for black people, ultimately what you have to understand is like, they really don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. Or they're on some selfish shit like Snoop Dogg right now. Well, he pardoned my boy Harry O, so he good with me. And that's ultimately what it boils down to. And the other thing that I think is insulting is that, like, yo, we are the only community in which that, like, when it comes to political influence, people think you're supposed to look to our entertainers. I can't think of like any Latin entertainers with, like, if you want to get the Latin vote, you really need to talk to Machete. Right? The guy who played Machete. Nobody's suggesting that they gotta go talk to that dude. Nobody's suggesting that when you talk to the white people and you want to talk to white voters, you gotta go talk to Matthew McConaughey. Nobody's suggesting that shit. But when you talk to black voters, unfortunately, people be like, yo, so did you talk to Ice Cube yet? Did you talk to Snoop Dogg yet? Did you talk to the Breakfast Club yet? Who the fuck are these niggas, and why are y'all putting them up as the people that they need to go talk to? Make it make sense to me. But yeah, man, Snoop Dogg said, he has nothing but love and respect for Donald Trump. I'll say this, man. Was the nigga high when they asked him? I think that's a legitimate question. Was the nigga high when they asked him? So you got that going on. Another story that we got is, Candace Owens says that she is terrified of women pilots, man. Yeah, and this is just a piggyback off of the shit that, her benefactor, Charlie Kirk, said when he flies and he sees a black pilot, that he is terrified and wonders whether or not that black pilot is qualified to be flying that plane because of DEI, right? And ultimately, they've changed one set of three letters for another. Their beef at first was against CRT, which wasn't even being taught in 99.999% of K-12 schools, right? That was a college level, graduate level course. We know this. They know this. But it didn't matter. They got a bunch of white people mobilized behind this idea, and they were able to use it to gain political power. And so now they've moved on from CRT, and now it's about DEI. And so if it's about DEI, it's like, the people who are of a diverse background, it's a question of whether or not they even have the credentials or the credibility to be in the position that they're in, despite the fact that many times they are more than double qualified for that position because of how hard it was for them to get there in the first fucking place. Right? Nobody's just handing goddamn pilot licenses out to niggas. They're just not doing that. They've never been doing that. Right? But Candace Owens decided that she wanted to kind of back up the racist benefactor that has kind of, brought her to some political prominence. And now she's going to double down on that. Not only just double down on that, but go further into saying that she's also scared when women are pilots of airlines. So let me pull this video up so you guys can see right along with your boy. And let me do this here. See what this dingbat has to say. And yeah, we're going to do this here. Let me see what this dingbat is talking about.
The reality of what happens when it comes to DEI. But unfortunately, that is the reality of what happens when it comes to DEI. And what he is remarking on is true. I would be terrified if I got onto a plane and I saw a woman flying the plane. And I know that we have the United CEO saying that he just wants to fulfill a quota. He just wants there to be more women and wants there to be more black people. And he's not concerned at first with qualifications. That is something that should alarm all of us, guys, honestly. But unfortunately, that is the reality of what.
Okay, so again, the idea is that none of these people are qualified, right? That none of these people are qualified, that they're only there because they fill a quota. Understand that even for you to be in the space for you to fill the quota, you have to have the qualifications. It's bullshit. And here's listen, man. I was on Facebook earlier this week, and a long time listening to the show goes all the way back to like the Spann report, back to when I was like a voice on the Haterati radio show and everything else. He comes on my Facebook and he says, well, you know, sometimes Candace Owens be making some sense, and you know, normally when people say silly shit like that, I'm of the mindset of like, yo, man, a broken clock is right twice a day, right? But I will say this, man. And I told him this. I give people like Candace Owens no fucking quarter, because I understand that even Candace Owens doesn't believe most of the bullshit coming out of her mouth. Candace Owens' whole deal is giving comfort to white people to say racist shit. That is all. She gets paid quite handsomely to occupy that space. She is not the first person to occupy that space. The person that was there before her was a woman by the name of Crystal Wright, who went by the name of GOP Black Chick. Candace Owens has basically usurped her in that space because there can only be one. Right? Because there can only be one. So yeah, man, like when Candace Owens gets out here and she says this sort of silly shit, and when Kanye West gets out here and he says this sort of silly shit, I'm not trying to hear that. Well, you know, they be making points sometimes. No, get the fuck out of here, bro. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Because far too often they choose to not make sense. And if they're out here choosing to not make sense, I don't have to listen to these motherfuckers when you think they are making sense. I just don't. I give none of these niggas no quarter. None of them. And especially in the time like yo, we got this is Black History Month. How dare I give a coon any kind of quarter in times like these, man? Like matter of fact, where's the jam? We got the jam here somewhere. I had it and I can't find it. Good thing I can't find it, because I would have played it. For some, oh, I found it. There you go. Look at the cool. Look at the cool. Always cooning for you. Look at the cool. Look at the cool. Look at the cool. Always cooning for you. All right. Oh shit. Okay. Hold on. We got a few more comments here. Let's see. GS28 says Karamo is batshit crazy. All due respect. Hey man, I've known she was batshit crazy before she ran for Secretary of State. She used to show up on a show here in Detroit, in the Detroit area, called Let It Rip, who used to be hosted by a longtime Detroit area news anchor guy I grew up watching, and I have a lot of respect for, Hugh Perkins, and he used to have her on all the time, and it was clear, it was blatant, like this this chick is off her fucking rocker. She does not have it all. And she actually ran for Secretary of State. She was the Republican nominee for that shit. And she got blasted by 14 points and had the audacity and the unmitigated gall to act as though she didn't have to concede after losing by 14 points, as though it was close. Like, come on, man. You got that going on. Now, we got another comment here. This is Brian. Brian was actually the one who came on the Facebook and talked about Candace Owens having some points. He said, I don't think we can make it through Biden. I don't think we can make it through Biden reparations or no vote. There's no brown and black. We are on our own. Listen here, Brian. I will say this, man. We could choose to be on our own, or we can choose to use the tools that are available to us. Your vote for whomever you vote for, even if you vote for Trump, I would hope you wouldn't. But even if you were to vote for that asshole, your job after that is to then hold those whom you put in positions of power accountable, to hold their feet to account, to hold their feet to the fire, to continue to demand things on your behalf. The vote is but one tool in the toolbox. It is not the end all be all. Far too often, we treat the vote as I did that and now go out and do what I want you to do. Nah, you got to actually go out there and make them do what you want them to do. This isn't to say, and I know a lot of people get this misconstrued when we talk about, like, you know, voting for Biden and like we should vote for Biden. People think that we're telling you to do these sorts of things with no follow through, with no plan going forward. No, we want people to have a plan going forward. We want people to have an action or a demand that goes with that vote. Now, the other part that goes with this is understanding how your government actually works, right? Because you could demand a whole hell of a lot of things that goes to the president. You can demand a lot of shit, but understand that the president isn't the only person within the government with whom you need to be exerting that leverage on. There's so many people out here upset about student loan forgiveness, not understanding that even the student loan forgiveness that Joe Biden has been able to kind of get across, he's been able to do that through a very limited means, only because we didn't vote in numbers enough to give him the numbers to, you know, for the in the legislature to actually present a law that he could pass where, like, they could actually codify it. Right? We have to codify that sort of shit through laws. And I oftentimes, man, I wonder how often people are educated enough, even at a high school, middle school level, on civics as to how the government works. Hey, man, that government, whether that be the House of Representatives or the Senate, has to present bills, has to have those bills voted on, have to have those bills passed, have to have those bills go through the other house, the other chamber in the legislature before it ever reaches the president so that he can sign it. And from the very beginning, Joe Biden has been asking the legislature to, give me a bill so I can sign it for these student loans. But in the meantime, he's been canceling over $139 billion of student loans for a lot of folk. That's because people have been, like, holding his feet to the fire on that shit, man. It's not because he didn't campaign on, I'm going to make sure I cancel all y'all. He didn't campaign on that shit. But that was a concern for a lot of folks on the left. And so he's coming through in a way that he can come through. But there's so much more he could do if he had all of the tools available to him, right? Now, the other thing with, you said I'm right on this one when it comes to Candace Owens, man. Like, Candace Owens, again, like I said, when you were on my Facebook talking about some, she's right about some things, man. Like I said, she's right. Maybe, a broken clock is right, twice a day. But far too often, Candace Owens chooses to speak ill of black folks, to speak ill of women, to speak ill of the LGBTQ community. And it's because she gets paid to do so. And when you recognize that she gets paid to do so, even in the things that you think she's right about, oftentimes it's bullshit because she doesn't believe it. She doesn't believe it. She gets paid to be this. If she starts being anything else, that money dries up. This is why I give like people like her, people like the Hodge twins, Diamond and Silk, and one of them passed on. Brandon Tatum, all of them niggas over there, man. I give them niggas no quarter because I know it's a fucking grift. I know they are getting paid to tell white people what they want to feel comfortable. That is the bottom line, man. And when you know what it is, you don't give these sorts of people like that sort of leeway. I don't give them that sort of leeway. I just don't, because I know what it is. Hopefully enough of us recognize it for what it is too. Right? But yeah, man, got that going on. Let's see. Shit, I still had like 3 stories left, and we almost 2 hours into this shit. So let me do this here. We got 2 more stories. I'm not gonna even do this. Republicans are trying to make it harder for Joe Biden to cancel y'all student loans. I mean, I'm not gonna do that story, but yeah, I'm just gonna say it. Republicans are right now trying to make it harder for Joe Biden to cancel your student loans. Republicans are doing that. So even the little bit of like loans that Joe Biden has been able to cancel, Republicans want to stop his ability to even do that little bit that he's been able to do. Your vote fucking matters, man. But yo, real quick, the Travis Kelce, right? Travis Kelce. So apparently Travis Kelce is trending in the haircut game, man. I don't know how Travis Kelce is trending in the haircut game, but he is trending in the haircut game. And it's kind of crazy that this would be a thing, but it is. So,
you might not be able to get his girl.
Oh shit! Let me do this here. Let me pull this up so you guys can watch right along with your boy. Hold on a second. Let me pull this up because the whites are really like they going crazy over this haircut, man. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see what they're talking about, man. This is on Inside Edition, I believe. Let's see what they're talking about. Uh-oh.
You can get his haircut.
Can Travis Kelce's popularity soar any higher? Apparently so. A new poll says he tops the list of football players Americans want as their next door neighbor. And now his haircut is the top request at barbershops across the country. The buzz cut even has its own name. It's called, what else? The Travis Kelce.
Everybody knows the first part of the overall look is the haircut, baby.
Now, meet the barber. Philadelphia native Patrick Reagan has been cutting Kelce's hair for years. He even does house calls, traveling all the way to Kansas City. He uses a headlamp to get that crisp hairline. Guys are flooding barbershops asking for the cut. Even this youngster is getting his locks shaved off to look just like his football hero.
I'm getting the Kelce cut.
We went to Astor Place hairstylists in New York City.
We're gonna buzz his hair down to this level, and then we're gonna skin fade the sides out.
Barber Stephen Hammond is giving his client Leon the Travis Kelce. Here he is before and after.
Kelce's twin.
Yeah. So apparently white folks have just discovered the motherfucking fade, man. The white folks have discovered the fade. Niggas, we can't have nothing. We can't have nothing. A fade, man. They are going crazy over a fucking fade, man. If you're in the military, I remember I've never even been in the military, but I know like a lot of the guys in the military are like, yeah, man, just make it high and tight, man. Just make it high and tight. So even the high and tight is turned into the Travis Kelce, man. Oh man. Like, yo, like they have gentrified the fade, bro. They have gentrified the fade. Oh man, let's see. GS28 is in the chat room. He says, a fade and a lineup. That's essentially all it is, bro. A fade and a lineup. The white people are gentrifying the fade, bro. I mean, it's crazy to me too. It's crazy to me too, man. You got that going on. That is fucking bonkers. But one more story before we get out of here, because we always want to do the 2 hours, man. But one more story. But so I saw this, and shout out to my man Chris over on Facebook, man. But I saw this story and I was just like, yo, it made me wonder, are our white friends okay? Real talk, are they okay? Because apparently they are so pressed, some of them are so pressed to be able to walk around barefoot that they are cutting out the bottoms of their shoes to hide the fact that they are walking around barefoot.
God damn!
Yeah. So I'm going to pull this video up so you guys can see right along with me what the fuck they got going on, because this shit is absolutely insane. So yeah, let me do this here, and boom. Check this out, y'all. This is crazy. This is crazy.
My husband and I have removed the bottoms of all of our shoes. We decided to start walking barefoot, and one of our followers had a great idea. Since some businesses don't want us being completely barefoot, if we cut off the bottom of our shoes, it allow us to be barefoot but blend in with everyone else. This is a huge commitment, but we were...
So the businesses says, hey, no shoes, no shirt, no service, right? These motherfuckers are really trying to call themselves, finding the technicality to force themselves into being able to not have no goddamn shoes on in these businesses. Like, bro, do you know what's on the ground, man? You know how many people just like spit on the ground, or like how many birds just shit on the ground, or how many dogs just piss on the ground, how many dogs may just shit on the ground, and you just walking around with that shit at the bottom of your feet? Just nasty, man. Just nasty. But
we're willing to make it. These are our favorite shoes. Our shoe collection is worth more than $20,000. But this is a sacrifice we're willing to take because walking barefoot means the world to us. The benefits of walking barefoot are priceless, so now our shoes are worth more than money could ever be. So today we got to work and started removing the bottoms.
Also,
we weren't sure if this is...
Hold on, real quick. Also, I kind of wondered if they're trolling this, right? I also wanted to like, did they cut the shoes out of, like, did they cut the bottoms out of all their shoes? Like, she made a real big point to let us know our shoe collection is worth about $20,000. Like, I don't know how much my shoe collection is. I ain't even counted them motherfuckers like that to be like, yo, man, my shoe collection is worth X amount of dollars, and I got a nice collection of shoes, right? But I've never thought to add all that shit up, right? Also, it's priceless to be able to walk outside with to be walking barefoot. It seems like forced poverty. It's giving forced poverty to me. You know what I'm saying?
This was going to be easy or hard, and it ended up being pretty easy. We made little shelves where our toes are and our heels are. We made a little lip on the bottom of the shoe where our toenails will go so they can latch on, so we'll actually be able to hold on to the shoe while trying to walk without the bottom. And we did the same thing for our heels.
That sounds like a lot of fucking work to be walking around with no shoes on. Hey, I want to be able to walk barefoot in my shoes, but also I need to make like a lift or a lid so like I can, like, you know, my shoes can stay on while I'm barefoot, because yeah, it sounds like a lot of fucking unnecessary work. I'm just saying.
Heels. The experience of cutting off the bottoms of our shoes was very freeing and detoxifying, just like walking barefoot is. So after we cut the bottoms off, we decided to try it out. So we went to our favorite store, Sephora, and as you know, they don't really like us in here without shoes. I needed to grab a few things for a trip we're going on. The experience was absolutely perfect. The workers came up to us, they talked to us, they even complimented our shoes. I definitely recommend this if you're trying to go incognito barefoot. It's the perfect way to get all the benefits of going barefoot, but also have no one know.
Well, everybody knows now. Every fucking body knows now, right? She's out here barefoot, man, and showing like, that's just nasty, man. That's just fucking nasty. Uh-oh. Got videos just starting on their own now, you know? But, yo, man, we got to pray for our white friends. They not okay. Man. And we got to hope that These are the people that be like, yeah, I don't want to get vaccinated, and that's why we're like mumps and shit is coming back because all sorts of shit is coming back. I don't want to get vaccinated, man. This is crazy, man. Before we get out of here, let me see. We got some more comments here. Horatio says, so now we got to retire the fade. Hey, man, I retired it a long time ago, bro. My shit been going a long time ago. I've been bald for the better part of the last 15 years now, man. So some of y'all got to retire the fade. I've retired it already. And let's see. GS28 says, man, I do hate that TikTok narrative cadence. Hey, man, I've come to the conclusion. I've come to the conclusion that I don't want to yuck their yum. Wait, got a lot going on. I don't want to yuck their yum. I'm also of the age of where I'm like, yeah, this shit just ain't for me. Just like I've been seeing, like the Apple has just released that, like their Vision Pro shit, and I've been seeing people like out in public on public transportation, supposedly using this, walking in malls, supposedly using that Vision Pro thing. This one dude was in a Tesla Cybertruck while supposedly doing some spatial computing while he should have been driving. Like I am of like the age now. I'm like, yeah, man, this shit just ain't for me. Or as Danny Glover said in Lethal Weapon, I'm too old for this shit. Right? I'm too old for this shit. So yeah, man, I'm resigned to the fact that, like, yo, man, some of this shit just this is what they own, bro. It's just what they own, and it doesn't have anything to do with me. But yo, man, it is time for me to get on up out of here. I've been running my mouth for a good little minute over here. We ran through quite a bit. Like I said, it was 2 weeks since the last time I talked to y'all, so I knew I had a lot of stories and whatnot. But yeah, we got through quite a bit of them, man. But before I get on up out of here, man, I'd like to remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Mrs. Spann Official Podcast and let your voice be heard. You can go ahead and hit up the hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave those voicemail messages. Of course, those messages will get replayed here live on the show and responded to in kind. And if you're watching us live, man, use that fucking hotline, man. You can chop it up with your boy Spann while we're doing the show. So that's area code 313-288-0485, right? You can also email us here at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback@thespannreport.com. Go ahead, leave us those emails, and of course, those emails we get read here and replied to here live on the show as well. You can chop it up with me on Threads and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So you can go ahead, follow me there, chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. Also, real funny, some of y'all are still hitting me up on like Twitter, and I'm not really on fucking Twitter like that. I've told you niggas that. This is how I know y'all don't pay attention. Some of you niggas are not paying attention. I'm not on Twitter like that. So if you're trying to get at me, if you're trying to get at your man, hit me up on Threads or Instagram. That's where I'm at Mr._Spann. Please and thank you. I appreciate y'all. I really do. Right. Also, man, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and or Spotify. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live in the show. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. Doesn't cost you a dime, man. Just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Mrs. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety. Also, YouTube, man. Leave us a comment and rate the videos on YouTube. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that, man. Also, it doesn't cost you nothing to do that. And those YouTube comments do get read here live if they're good, man, if they're nice. We don't want, like, because YouTube, like, I gotta say it, man. Like, the YouTube comment section is like a cesspool. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of trolls over there. So we don't want to reward the people who just over there trolling with, responses here on the show. However, if you're talking something substantial and it coincides with what we're talking about here with the subject matter, we will highlight your comments and we will respond to those comments here live on the show. So if you're watching us and you're consuming the show via YouTube, man, we appreciate you, and we would like for you to continue to consume the show and contribute to the show in that way via your YouTube comments. So thank you for you guys who are contributing and consuming the show in that way. Also, man, go to our website, at www.thespanreport.com. You can go there, watch replays of the show. You can donate to the show as much as you like, as often as you like. And of course, we really do appreciate every dime over here at the Spann Report Podcast Network. Also, you can go to our store and copy yourself some merch, man. We got t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got stickers, we got mouse pads, we got we got coffee mugs, we got wife beaters, we got a bunch of shit that has like, not like we got the Mr. Spann shit, we got the beer and chicken stuff on there, we got the Baywatch stuff on there, we got like a bunch of different stuff on there in our store, man. So we really appreciate those of you who will patronize us in that way. It really helps us in kind of paying the bills over here, the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network. And also, man, we think our stuff looks nice. So if you're watching, if you're wearing some of our stuff, man, like, rock your stuff and post it on social media. That shit looks good. We know it looks good. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no trash, nothing. Right? But yeah, man, we appreciate everybody who does that, man. Real talk. But yeah, man, I have been running my mouth for quite a bit. I gotta get myself together so I can get my ass to work tomorrow, and I can I will be talking to you guys real soon, like real soon. But until next time, man. Peace.